The perennial imbalance between land, labor, and capital. A deeper analysis of economic factors reveals that while the potential for generating capital and labor is virtually unlimited, bounded only by human ambition, this potential is significantly constrained by access to land, particularly land that holds value. Such land often becomes inaccessible due to private or state ownership, and anyone wishing to use it must pay a premium. The value of land is not intrinsic, but rather defined by societal perception. Land that is seen as commercially viable commands a higher value than land deemed suitable for industrial, residential, or agricultural use. Proximity to town centers tends to increase commercial value because of the high flow of people and vehicles, enhancing its attractiveness for business. In residential areas, land values vary based on the quality of neighboring homes, luxurious or modest, available infrastructure, the presence or absence of crime, and the overall visual and environmental appeal. Agricultural land values are determined by soil fertility, drainage systems, and ease of access to markets. For industrial purposes, land needs to offer reliable infrastructure, utilities, and convenient proximity to transportation hubs, such as ports, airports, or railroads. Two main points arise from this analysis. First, the value assigned to any land is purely a product of societal perception. Second, nature or providence has made certain lands inherently more valuable. For example, coastal land is often valued more highly because it provides access to ports and facilitates trade. Likewise, some areas have more fertile soil, making them better suited for agriculture. These natural advantages are not the result of landowners' efforts, but rather of circumstances beyond their control. Over time, the broader society enhances land values by investing in infrastructure, public utilities, and development projects. These investments often lead to windfalls for landowners, especially those who inherited or acquired valuable properties before the improvements were made. As a result, these individuals were able to accumulate wealth and purchase more valuable land. Eventually, nearly all such land is bought up, either used for specific purposes or withheld from use altogether. As valuable land becomes more fully enclosed, whether by the state or private individuals, it becomes difficult or impossible for others to access it without paying high costs. Many potential users are unable to afford these premiums, making employment the only viable path for economic survival. However, a significant amount of valuable land remains either unused or underutilized. This directly affects the labor market, as fewer operational sites mean fewer employment opportunities. Each year, even highly educated and qualified individuals struggle more and more to find meaningful work. This leads us to a fundamental dilemma. How can we accommodate the growing number of job seekers when vast areas of commercial, industrial, residential, and agricultural lands remain idle? How can we activate idle financial capital that sits in banks and redirect it towards productive uses? Is it possible to lawfully and efficiently unite the three critical elements of production, land, labor, and capital, to generate employment that offers decent wages with real purchasing power? There's also a larger question at play. How can we structure society to avoid the recurring cycles of economic booms and busts that leave many bankrupt and drive deeper inequality? How do we promote economic justice in a way that gives every citizen a fair opportunity to live a dignified life? How can we ensure that every family has access to a reasonable standard of living in a just and equitable society? In the articles that follow, the discussion will focus on how imbalances in the core factors of production have negatively influenced various aspects of national development. These include the labor market and employment levels, the availability and quality of housing, physical infrastructure, and the natural environment. The imbalance also affects trade, commerce, agriculture, transportation, industrial diversification, banking, local governance, taxation, and public services such as healthcare, education, and social welfare. A less obvious but deeply concerning consequence of this disequilibrium is the rise in crime, which stems from social and economic despair. The effects go beyond just the economy and governance. The imbalance also touches cultural sectors such as sports and the arts. Each area will be examined in detail to show how restoring balance among land, labor, and capital can lead to positive outcomes across the board. Today, most governments operate reactively rather than identifying and addressing the root causes of persistent social and economic challenges. They respond only when problems reach crisis levels. This approach is often compared to that of firefighters constantly extinguishing the flames of unrest without solving the underlying issues that caused the fires in the first place. What is needed is a shift in perspective. We must aim to understand the true workings of society and discover how best to organize it in a way that promotes both economic justice and lasting peace. Just as the universe follows precise natural laws that prevent cosmic chaos, it's likely that our economic systems too are governed by specific principles. If these principles are identified and followed, the outcome could be greater prosperity and social harmony. Humanity has made significant progress in overcoming many of the challenges that once held it back. However, poverty remains one of the most stubborn and enduring problems. This is not necessarily due to a lack of resources or intelligence, but rather because we have not truly tackled the issue at its root. We have failed to return to the fundamental principles, especially the core factors of production that underpin all economic activity. Unless we examine these foundational elements, land, labor, and capital, and restore balance among them, we will continue to react to crises instead of preventing them. The cyclical pattern of economic instability, unemployment, underutilized resources, and social unrest will persist indefinitely. Only by addressing the real structure of our economy and adjusting it at the root, can we break free from these cycles and create a system that works for everyone. More can be had on this subject by accessing our flagship course entitled Nature of Society, whose link is in the description, profile, bio. Thank you.